What's up guys, Theo here coming to you live with another coding tutorial. Welcome back to my CodeCademy series on Introduction to ReactJS. This is Introduction to ReactJS. This is part 2, second part in the series on CodeCademy, and this is part 10 on my tutorial series. So let's get to it. Let's hit continue, and let's look at what we have to do. So we have 5 lessons here. So this is patterns within patterns within patterns within patterns. In lesson 1, you learned your first React programming pattern. A stateful parent component passes down a prompt to a stateless child component. In lesson 2, you learned that lesson 1's pattern is actually part of a larger pattern. A stateful parent component passes down an event handler to a stateless child component. The child component then uses the event handler to update its parent state. So it's really just a sort of bubbling up of event propagation. In this lesson, we will expand the pattern one last time. A child component updates its parent state, and the parent passes that state to a sibling component, because the parent is like the main frame. An understanding of this final pattern will be very helpful in the wild, not to mention the next React course. Click Next, and we'll build an example. Okay, so let's move on to part 2. So one of the very first things that you learned about components is that they should have one job. In the last lesson, child had 2 jobs. Child displayed a name. Child offered a way to change that name. You should make like Solomon and divide child in 2. One component for displaying the name and a different component for allowing a user to change the name. In the code editor, select child.js. Note that these lines have vanished. Hey, my name is this.props.name. The new version of child renders a drop-down menu for changing the name, and that's it. Select sibling.js, the code editor. Read through the render function's return statement, so it returns everything. Here the name is displayed, or at least it will be displayed once you've done a little editing. Click Run. Okay, and then select parent.js. Look at the rendered parent in the browser. Try selecting a name from the drop-down window. Does it work? So I'm guessing it's not going to work. Let's just see what the output is. So, farther, can we change it? Looks like it does work to me, but it doesn't update. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we can do to update it. Look at parent.js in the code editor. 3 things have changed in the file since the last lesson. Sibling has been required on line 4. A sibling instance has been added to the render function on line 23. Right there, and sibling and child have been wrapped in a div. Remember, since JSX expressions must have one outer element. 1. Sibling's job is to display the selected name. That name is stored in parent state. Parent will also have to pass the name to sibling so that sibling can display it. And parent's render function pass the name to sibling. So here we go. On sibling, we're going to say name equals this.state.name. I think that should give us access to that name. So let's just make sure this actually works for us. Hopefully it does. Let's see the output here in just a second when it loads. Okay. Let's see. I have to refresh this. Being slow again. Try and refresh that. And let's go back. Now this.state.name. Let's run that and see if this works for us. Okay. Very cool. Child's job is to offer a way to change the chosen name not to display in parent.js. Look at lines 21 and 22. You are passing child 2 pieces of dynamic information. The chosen name, this.state.name. A way to change the chosen name, this.changeName. One of those is now unnecessary. Okay, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be this first one, name. Let's just make a guess on that. Pretty sure that's what it is. And let's run that to see if we pick the right one. I'm pretty sure because we want the function and not just the key value pair. So let's see if this works for us. Okay, cool. That works. You're on the last step. You pass the name down to sibling as a prop. Now sibling has to display that prop. 1. Select sibling.js. Notice that sibling doesn't use any dynamic information at all. Every time the sibling renders, it will always look exactly the same. That's not what you want. On line 5, declare a new variable called name. Okay. We'll say for name, we'll set it equal to this.props.name. And then let's run that. And let's see if this works for us. Very cool. Inside of the render functions return statement, there are 3 instances of the work for author. You want to replace each instance with whatever the chosen name is. Replace each for author with name. Okay, so we're going to replace this with name, and then we're going to replace this with name, and then we're going to replace this with name. So let's make sure this works for us. So now we only have to change it in one place since it's being repeated, and that follows the software development principle of dry, don't repeat yourself. So let's see if this works for us. Okay, cool. 5. You just executed your first complete React programming pattern. Let's review. Follow each step in the code editor. A stateful component class defines a function that calls this.setState, parent.js, lines 11 to 15. Okay. The stateful component passes that function down to a stateless component, parent.js, line 20. So we're passing it down here. That stateless component class defines a function that calls the passDown function and then can take an event object as an argument. So that's child.js, lines 4 to 7. The stateless component class uses this new function as an event handler. Child.js, line 14, event handler. When an event is detected, the parent state updates. The user selects a new drop-down menu item. The stateful component class passes down its state, distinct from the ability to change its state to a different stateless component. Parent.js, line 21. The stateless component class receives the state and displays it. Sibling.js, lines 8 to 10. An instance of the stateful component class is rendered. One stateless child component displays the state, and a different stateless child component displays a way to change the state. Parent.js, lines 27 through 30. So right here at the end. This pattern occurs in React all the time. The more that you see it, the more that its elegance will become clear. Being introduced to this pattern is your first step towards understanding how React apps fit together. You get more practice using it throughout this course as well as in the course after this one. So it looks like up next, guys, is style. Learn simple styling in React. So that'll be the next lesson. We're about 32% through, and looks like that's our next lesson. So yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Thanks.